Over the years, I've played my part well. So well, I've deceived one of the greatest wizards of all time. Welcome, everybody, to Better Than Reality, the podcast about fiction. I am your host, Hannah without an H, and I have with me my guest, Christina, once again.
Hello.
To talk about Harry Potter with me. Today, we are getting into starting our specific discussions about Harry Potter, and what better way to start off than by discussing my favorite character, Severus Snape. The man, the myth, the legend.
Yes, Snape is the best. He's one of the greatest characters, for sure.
So we can both agree on that, and we are both very excited to have a great, fun, juicy discussion about him.
Juicy. I like it.
All right, let's get into it. All right, so we are going to start off. Who is Professor Snape? Professor Snape is the head of House Slytherin. And he is also the Master of Potions, and then he was the Defense Against Dark Arts teacher. And then I think he became headmaster after.
Yes, he did.
Dumbledore was killed, which was not well received.
No.
By everybody.
Not at all.
So that is who Snape is for people who don't know, but I'm assuming everybody knows.
That's true.
If not, I don't know why you're here. I mean, but I'm happy you're here, but yeah. All right, moving on. So I think it is very important to start this off with just a little brief summary of his story and going through his backstory, because that is really what makes him such a great character, at least to me. So obviously as a child, he met Lily, Harry's mother, and they just formed a really good friendship and bond, and he fell deeply in love with Lily, which then kind of grows apart as they get older for several reasons. But the main reason is once they got into Hogwarts, they were separated in different houses. And then she befriended Harry's dad. James, that's it. I'm like, I know his name. Yeah, James Potter, who really bullied him. And then Snape despised him. And then Lily also didn't like Snape's friends because he kind of got more into the dark arts and fell in love with the dark arts, and then got into some friendships with people that she didn't agree with or approve of. So it kind of really solidified that, what's the word?
The drift.
The drift.
The big drift, essentially.
So that happened, and then obviously James and Lily ended up getting married and had Harry, and then... So Snape was he part? He wasn't a Death Eater, was he? I don't know if technically he was, but I think he was part of like the group.
The group. He was part of the group.
So he was part of the group, and then as soon as Voldemort killed Lily, he kind of switched sides.
Yeah, exactly. Switched gears and
kind of became a double agent for Dumbledore to protect Harry.
Which is funny because he kind of despised Harry. Because of the whole past.
Because of the past, and that's why they kind of clashed. But I didn't mind it because I love Snape's sarcasm towards Harry.
Same here.
So much. I found it hilarious even not knowing like what his past was. I'm like, this is hilarious that he's like, you know...
He's kind of putting him in his place in a weird way.
Because Harry was a little bit arrogant. He was. And I mean, rightfully so. You grow up being called the chosen person.
Yeah.
You're the chosen one, and then you get into the school and everyone's like, oh, Harry Potter, you're Harry Potter, oh my gosh. And then he got a little bit arrogant, but Snape put him in his place, and I really, really like that. But yeah, so he switched sides, joined the Order of the Phoenix, and nobody knew, and he kept it very silent. And that's the thing I loved about him is he told Dumbledore, he's like, don't tell anybody. I don't want anybody to know.
And this is why Dumbledore trusted Snape with his life, literally with his life.
Yes, literally. And I love that. I love the silent hero, which when I found this out, I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yes. Yep. I'm like, I knew I liked this character for a reason. Part of it was the mystery. I loved how mysterious his whole character was.
Yes.
So much. How you were always guessing. I was like, okay, is he bad? He seems bad. But then at the end of the first movie, we're like, okay, he was trying to protect Harry. But then you're like, okay, no, he's doing some pretty shady stuff. He's definitely bad. And then he would do something else to redeem himself
he definitely
again.
plays with your mind throughout the series, and for sure.
He was very good at hiding it, never told anybody. He was just so good at deceiving people. I mean, well, he even deceived Lord Voldemort.
Oh, yeah.
Voldemort. But yeah. Yeah, and I mean, it's just crazy. He was just such a good character, and my heart broke at the end when he died and then gave Harry his memories and we saw everything. I'm like, oh my gosh, like
so sad.
Literally was the reason they were able to destroy Voldemort, because he sent his Patronus to lead Harry to the was it the last Horcrux? No, it wasn't the last one. It was the sword that destroyed the Horcrux, right? Yeah. So I mean, yeah, it
was just.
And I'm just like, wow. I'm like, the whole time, like, this guy who we thought was bad or we couldn't figure out.
Harry Potter.
He was
trying out, like, he made it seem like Snape was trying to get back at Harry Potter for his past, but
yeah.
Then there you go.
And then you find out, nope, he is actually the hero, really the hero in all of this. And to me, a greater hero than Harry Potter.
Oh, for sure.
Better than anyone.
Oh yeah, I definitely could see that.
Oh man, he is one of my favorite characters still to this day, like in any fictional universe. So that is the one thing that Harry Potter really has going for it for me. Not being the biggest fan, I love
the subtle
Snape.
hero.
The subtle hero, I just love that. Love that idea. Again, very noble death. And yeah, I don't even think Voldemort ever knew that Snape was a double agent, because he killed him because he wanted the Elder Wand, and he thought that Snape was the master, the owner of the Elder Wand.
But he wasn't.
But that's why he killed him.
Yep.
Which, I felt so bad for him. I'm like, no, you were so close. It sucks.
No, it was so sad. It was a
so
sad moment.
Oh yeah, I cried. But yeah, so I mean, what a great story. Just amazing story. And then kind of going into likes and dislikes about this character. Obviously, I don't have any dislikes about his character. I don't know if you can think of any.
I remember when I watched it for the first time as a kid, I disliked him.
Well, that's how it was set up to be,
and that's
right?
how it was set up to be. Like, oh, he's the villain. Like, he's not a good guy. And then he grows on you. Yeah. Is how it is. Like, as the movies go on, as the books went on, like, you see the growth of his character. You learn how everything ties in from his past, which that I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed that they showed us a background into his past.
Me too.
So that you see why he's the way he is.
Yeah.
What happened to make him become the way he is.
He had a full character arc, which a lot of the characters I don't think had.
No.
And I'm really glad that we got that full arc from him.
I really like that. I think that's probably my favorite thing, like, about his storyline, is that they tied everything together.
Yeah.
Which
I loved, and answered all the questions we wanted to know.
Exactly.
Because I wouldn't say I ever disliked his character, even when I didn't know. I just got disappointed sometimes because I was really intrigued by his character, and then when I found out, when I came to the conclusion, or I thought came to the conclusion that he was actually bad, I'm like, no, like
I was really rooting for you,
I was really rooting for you. I was really hoping you did a 180, like, not knowing that he actually did. But again, I liked the not knowing and, the always
mystery.
guessing.
It goes back to the mystery. He has a really good mysterious side. Like,
absolutely,
his whole character reference is the mystery.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoyed.
Absolutely. And just like, he was so misunderstood by so many people, but kept silent. And
that was part of his charm, because he didn't really care about anything that was going on. He knew what he was doing.
No.
He was going to do whatever it took to do it.
Yeah. It was all love driven. So really he would, out of all the characters, he was the one who had the most love out of anybody. And his love drove him to do everything that he did. And that is how deep and fierce his love was for Lily. Like, he kept going after she died, protected his child, who he wasn't a big fan of in the first place because he reminded him too much of
the past,
James in the past. But he still kept true to that. And it's just incredible that he had such a deep love. And I think we could all learn from that.
Oh, yeah.
Deep love. Agree. And just amazing. Like, he's almost flawless, his character. I just loved it.
Yeah, no, he's a good
a little biased of an opinion, but
he is your favorite character.
Yeah.
But no, he is one of, like, the great characters in all the movies, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hands down. I agree with that.
Yeah, we can both agree on that. And then we kind of already touched upon the sarcasm towards Harry that we loved. His sarcasm is and slight hostility towards Harry.
And it's hilarious.
It's so funny.
Because
I know.
Harry doesn't know why the hostility is happening until later on in the movies. Like, he doesn't know about the past, about what happened with his parents.
He just thinks it's because he's a bad person.
Yeah.
And then he prejudges him. He prejudges him the whole time.
And it's not until later on in the movies where he learns, oh, my father bullied you. And this is probably why you kind of hate me.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But just incredible.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. Incredible. And then I love that Harry kind of honored his memory and named his son after.
I know.
So it was Albus Severus Snape, I think. So named him after Dumbledore and Severus.
And Snape.
And then
that was such a sweet moment.
It was so sweet. I'm like, yes. I'm like, okay, Harry, you slightly redeemed your character for me for that decision.
The thing with Harry is that he will honor the people that have passed. He just has a really bad way of showing it.
I'm a little too hard on him. I will admit that.
Bit, yeah.
Just a bit. But yeah. So again, just so good. Such a good character. And I could go on and on about him, but we could probably move on to our wrap-up question if you're ready.
I'm ready.
If you've said everything that you want to say about Snape.
I mean, I already mentioned my favorite moments of Snape's.
Yeah,
and that's just definitely the sarcasm and the story arc, just tying everything all together. It's just so pleasing.
Me too. Oh, I also want to mention too, I do like that he actually kind of grew to like Potter in his own way.
Yeah.
Because I remember Dumbledore was saying, do you actually care for him now? Don't you? And he didn't say anything. And I'm like, yeah, you do.
You just don't want to admit it.
You just don't want to admit it, but you do care for him. Kind of like he was his own kid. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you are just, he's so good. He's such a good character. But yeah, I just wanted to add that in there.
That's a good point. I'm glad you added that.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad I remembered that. Well, actually, it's in my notes.
Oh, there you go. That's why your notes are there.
That's why the notes are there. But yeah, if you're ready, our wrap-up question.
I think I'm ready.
Great. So our wrap-up question for today is going to be your favorite Severus Snape moment, which will be juicy. Will be really good. So everybody, make sure you comment and stick around for our response. All right. So your favorite Severus Snape moment, Christina?
Ooh, okay. It's from the first movie.
Okay.
And it's the quote, "Tut tut, fame clearly isn't everything," which is Snape telling him in reference to the first class where he's kind of late and then he wasn't paying attention. And then Snape starts asking him a bunch of questions. Do you know this?
Yep.
No, sir. Do you know that? No, sir. And then he goes, well, clearly fame isn't nothing.
Isn't everything. That's right. I really like that moment too, because it was kind of the first time we saw Harry being put
in his place. And,
you know, he wasn't being stereotypical. Everybody was on the same level to him.
Yeah.
Like, just because you're the so-called chosen one, you're going to be treated the same as everybody else.
Exactly. Doesn't mean you know everything. Like, you clearly didn't grow up in this world, so you literally have no idea. So just sit there and let me teach you.
Yeah.
And I just loved it because that's also relatable as a kid too. Like,
absolutely.
You were in class, you had those kids that are like talking out of term and you're like,
yep,
hello.
Oh yeah.
So
there was always that child.
Oh, there's always that kid. So that's just, my favorite quote. Tut, tut, fame clearly isn't everything.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's a great one. I'm glad you chose that because that's one of my favorite moments. But I would have to say one of my favorites, just because of the meaning behind it, was when he said, "Through the years, I've played my part so well, I've deceived one of the greatest wizards of all time." So that's when he was talking to Bellatrix before he made that oath with Draco's mom. I like that quote because everybody thinks that he's talking about Dumbledore, but he's actually not.
Yeah.
The whole time he's actually deceiving Voldemort and everyone else. I'm deceiving the greatest wizard of all time.
Yeah.
Voldemort, but nobody knows. And I just love the underlying meaning of that quote.
That's a great quote.
And looking back at it, it's so much cooler when you're looking back at it and you know, because at the time everybody thinks the same thing. Oh my gosh, like no, like he's deceiving Dumbledore, and yeah, he has gone full bad, but that is not the meaning at all. And I love that quote. I really, really do.
Yeah, that's another good one.
And love that scene too. Because it does show that he is loyal and he doesn't break his vows. Like he made that vow and he did. He killed Dumbledore for Draco because Draco, he doesn't have it in him. That's not the kind of person that he is. As much as he thought he could do it.
He can't.
Yeah, he could not. And he kept that vow to Draco's mom to protect him, which... What a great guy.
I know, he's just all
I know
around.
he killed someone, but Dumbledore also told him to kill me when the time is right, which he was dying from the curse anyway.
Exactly.
So it timed out.
He's an honorable man.
He is. Very much
Despite
so.
all the bad that has happened, he's a very honorable man.
Yes, very much so. So I admire him and his character and just the full character arc that he had in the series.
Yeah, definitely good character arc for sure.
Awesome. So everyone else, make sure you comment and let us know what your favorite Severus Snape moment is, because there's many. I mean, there's many I could think of. But
so many.
That one, and I think the one you picked out was really good because I do like that moment as well.
And it's a good tie-in to the entire movie too, because no one knows what's going on. Everything's all new.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. Great. Well, thank you everybody for listening to this episode. And again, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and tune in next time. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you like what you hear, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes, be sure to check out our videos on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you check out that audio. Thank you so much for your support. We'll see you next time.